Vikings versus Titans.
The final game against the Titans will decide the battle for the Vikings' QB2 spot. For the first time, Sam Howell's position as the immediate backup is under real threat. In this video, we will reveal why the Titans' defense is the perfect test to expose the inconsistency we have seen in the first two games. Will the veteran Brett Rypien's security finally prevail over potential, or does the undrafted rookie Max Brosmer have what it takes to cause the biggest roster upset? Stay with us in this video to understand the Vikings' biggest offensive challenge to determine who will be McCarthy's backup in the NFL regular season. All right, folks, before we talk about Howell, Rypien, and Brosmer, we need to understand the defense they are going to face. I have here the data from the Titans' first two preseason games, one against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the other against the Falcons. Let's extract the patterns. The Titans' defense recorded 1 sack against the Buccaneers and another 2 sacks against the Falcons, totaling 3 sacks in 2 games. What does that tell us? The Titans' defense has a functional pass rush. It is not an overwhelming elite unit, but it is capable of generating pressure and bringing down the quarterback. They do not allow a clean pocket for very long. In addition, they recorded 0 interceptions against the Buccaneers and 1 interception against the Falcons. While not a high turnover total, this shows their secondary will capitalize on a bad decision if given the chance, especially when supported by the pressure their defensive line generates. They allowed an average of 18.5 points per game, showing a solid defense of the type bend, don't break that tightens the pressure in the red zone. We are looking at a disciplined defense with good coordination between the pass rush and the secondary coverage. They will not give you anything for free. This is the most balanced test and perhaps the toughest one our backup QBs will face. With this Titans defense in mind, the first major decision for Kevin O'Connell is, will the QB1 J.J. McCarthy take the field? The risk-reward analysis here is clear. The reward would be giving McCarthy a few snaps in a hostile environment playing on the road to accelerate his acclimation. But what is the risk of McCarthy taking the field against the Titans? An unnecessary injury against a competent pass rush, putting our entire season in jeopardy before it even begins? McCarthy is the confirmed starter, and his development now is more focused on chemistry with the starters and studying the playbook. Playing 1 or 2 drives against the Titans will not change his trajectory, but a poorly timed sack could change everything. In my opinion, the focus of this game should be 100% on evaluating the quarterback depth chart, and McCarthy should stay on the sideline with a cap and headphones, absorbing everything. Now that we understand, in broad terms, the impact of the Titans' defense in this preseason, let's revisit the performance, efficiency, and overall production that the 3 Vikings backup quarterbacks have been showing in these last 2 games. Let's start with Sam Howell. And his story is a tale of 2 games. Let's look together at the passing box score. From the game against the Texans, find Sam Howell's line. In the first column of passes completed in attempts, we see 11 of 13, an extremely high percentage of 84.6%. That shows precision. Now, sliding your eye over to the column of total yards, 105 yards, and next to it, the average yards per attempt, an excellent 8.1, indicating he was not just making short passes, but attacking the field. And the most important part, look here, 0 touchdowns, but, crucially, 0 interceptions and 0 sacks taken. The result, final in the passer rating column, he had a 100.3, a clean and efficient performance against a defense we have already proven to be good. Now, let's jump to the box score against the Patriots, and the contrast is shocking. Look at the same line, Sam Howell in the passes completed and attempts column, only 1 of 5. In total yards, a mere 13 yards, with an average yards per attempt of 2.6. That does not move the chains. And here is the killer. Look at the interceptions column. We see the number 1. The result of this, in the passer rating column, he went from a 100.3 to a 0.0. A complete implosion under pressure from a defense that improved. This inconsistency is the biggest red flag. Now, let's move to Brett Rypien. And his story is the exact opposite of Howell's. It is a story of recovery. Against the Texans, the performance was weak. Look here at the line for completed and attempts, 1 of 4. For total yards, just 6 yards. But the most important part, look at the sacks column. He took 2, the only QB to be brought down in that game. resulting in a very low passer rating of 39.6. Now in the game against the Patriots, against the same defense that stopped Howell, let's go to Rippon's line in this second game. In the passes completed in attempts column, we see 7 of 11, much more efficient. In total yards, 83 yards, with a solid average yards per attempt of 7.5. And now the decisive columns. In the sacks column, 0, and in the interception, also 0. That raised his passer rating to 86.6. He did not make the same mistakes Howell did under the same pressure. That is what we call veteran performance, steady and aware. Now let's look at the undrafted rookie, Max Brosmer. Let's add up the stats from both games to understand his impact. In the passing table, he leads the group in attempts with 35, in completions with 20, in yards with 203, and is the only one with a touchdown. That shows courage and the coaching staff's confidence in letting him throw. But, and this is a big but, let's focus on the game against the Patriots. Guide your eyes to the right on Brosmer's line, to the sacks column. The number you see is 4. He took 4 sacks, for a loss of 33 yards. That kills drives, stops offensive momentum, and shows an urgent need to improve pocket awareness. Even with the production, this is the stat that could leave him off the final roster if not corrected. That brings us to strategy. How should O'Connell distribute the snaps? The order has been, in general, Howell, Rippon, and Brosmer. But with the stakes so high, should we change that? Keeping the order gives Howell the chance to redeem himself immediately, playing against the toughest competition the Titans will present. On the other hand, I personally am intrigued by the idea of a change. What if Brett Rippon started the game, put his steady and veteran hand in to stabilize the beginning of the game on the road, then bring in Sam Howell in the second quarter against a defense that might already be slightly worn down, to see if he can find his rhythm without the initial pressure? And most importantly, give Max Brosmer the third quarter, not just the end of the game. Test the kid against players who will still be fighting for a roster spot, not just the deep bench reserves. That would give us the cleanest data on who he really is, maximizing the evaluation of each player in different game situations, which is the ultimate goal of the preseason. So, here we are, Skull Nation. The game in Nashville against the Titans is not a friendly. The Titans defense will provide the perfect test of pressure and discipline. Howell needs to show he can handle the heat. Rippon needs to prove his consistency is enough to be the number 2. Brosmer needs to demonstrate he has learned how to survive in the NFL pocket. My final projection, based on all the data we have, is that the door to the QB2 position is completely open. If Howell falters again and Rippon plays in a safe and efficient manner, I predict a change in the depth chart before the regular season. And Max Brosmer, with a clean performance, could very well force the Vikings to keep him on the 53-man roster, making Brett Rippon expendable or forcing an even tougher decision about Howell. It will be a fascinating game in Tennessee. We will watch every snap, every read, every decision. Leave your comment below, and thank you for watching, and see you soon. If Howell falters again and Rippon plays in a safe and efficient manner, I predict a change in the depth chart before the regular season. And Max Brosmer, with a clean performance, could very well force the Vikings to keep him on the 53-man roster, making Brett Rippon expendable, or forcing an even tougher decision about Howell. This final road test is less about raw talent and more about mental discipline under pressure. It forces the coaching staff to answer a crucial question about their philosophy. Do they bet on a higher ceiling or a safer floor? For Howell, it's a final chance to prove consistency. For Rippon, it's a chance to prove his stability is invaluable. Meanwhile, Max Brosmer has the opportunity to make their decision more complicated than they ever imagined. It'll be a fascinating game in Tennessee. We will watch every snap, every read, every decision. Leave your comment below, and thank you for watching, and see you soon.